Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this episode of Riding Shotgun, I have with me none other than world-famous Guinness Book of World Records holder, Doug Danger. Doug, dude, it is a pleasure.
Good to see you again,
It is always good to see you, man. Always good to see you.
Finally worked out time to get on the show.
Finally, I know, you're done breaking records for right now. In the backseat, we also have Doug's son, Scott. And I've known Scott for a couple years, too. The way I met Doug and Scott is I met them through this group called Toastmasters, where we work on our speaking skills, and yeah, that's what we do, and that's how we met. All right, so here's what Doug is. Doug's got a bunch of world records for jumping motorcycles, and when he was a kid, he was enamored. Is enamored not the right word? Maybe, I don't know. He idolized Evil Knievel, and eventually.
That word I understand.
He idolized Evil Knievel, and then eventually he became friends with Evil Knievel and started working with him. So, Doug, here's what I want to talk about, man. Let's just talk and yap around. So, Evil Knievel was your childhood hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lived in Las Vegas when he jumped Caesar's Palace. I was 5 years old. My dad brought me down there to see it.
Wow.
And I can recall I was up on his shoulders. I saw Evil Knievel going back and forth doing these speed runs and I could barely see him, doing wheelies. All the people were in the way, but then all of a sudden I saw him go up in the air and come down, and I saw everybody screaming and everything. I saw him go tumbling across the parking lot, and everybody came over. Get that kid out of here! That's a terrible thing for a child to see. My dad puts me down. He says, "You okay, son?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Dad,
that's what I want to do."
I think I could have done that. So a few years later, I tried to get it. Well, about 10 or 15 years later, I tried to get it. It was about 1987, 1988, somewhere in there. And just as I started to get it going, well, actually, it was back in the 80s. I wanted to do it, beginning of the 80s. I wanted to do it. And
jump Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, I wanted to jump the fountains in front of Caesar's Palace.
Oh my God.
And then Gary Wells, this motorcycle jumper that he was the best there was, and I was jealous of him because he was so good. He booked it. And I'm like, darn, man. There goes. I'm not going to get a chance to do this. And he was supposed to be on That's Incredible, live. Well,
right.
Not live. They were going to a delayed taping the same day.
Right.
And then I watched That's Incredible that night. I watched the whole thing, and I'm like, where's the jump? It's almost 9 o'clock. It's almost done. And then all of a sudden, the thing comes up on the screen due to a bad accident. Gary Wells' jump will not be seen on That's Incredible tonight. And I was like, oh my God, he couldn't have missed. He's too good. He's the best.
Right.
And I'm laying in bed that night, and one of the guys on Rock 102 goes, some Evil Knievel wannabe tried to jump the fountain in front of Caesar's Palace tonight. Well, he didn't make it. He's in critical condition. And I was just like,
oh my gosh.
I was like, on one sense, feeling really bad and sorrowful for, my heart went out to Gary Wells because he was hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I looked at it as still an opportunity there. And then
good news and bad news.
Yeah,
the good news is, the bad news is he didn't make it. Good news is, somebody needs to.
Yeah. Then just towards the end of the 80s, I started to pursue it, and I made contact with them, and I was sending them proposals and everything, and then one of the guys cut me off. He says, we already signed a deal with Robbie Knievel to do it.
Oh, man.
I'm like,
That's too bad. That's too bad. All right, well, that's far down down your trip and your road, down the ramp. How did you get started? So you saw Evil Knievel when you were 5.
Yeah.
And then you started to, I know what I did in the 70s. First of all, I had one of those crank things with the rubber Evil Knievel, and I used to do it on the sidewalk all the time.
I used to light them on fire, send them out the second-story building. That's what happened with Evil Knievel, he couldn't live up to what everybody could do on the sky on a little motorcycle, the wind-up momotorcycles.
Oh,
And
my
it's like they'd see a regular jump and go, "Man, you went out of my house on fire and you lived." You know,
Right.
So he couldn't live up to the. He invented this guy called Evil Knievil, and it got to a point he couldn't live up to who Evil Knievel became.
That's crazy. Well, I also spent time, trying to jump my bicycle, and I don't know if I ever talked my friends to lay down in front of at the end of the ramp, but you got stories like that, sure, right?
Oh yeah, I jumped about, I think it was 15 kids on a bicycle.
15 kids.
Yeah, and I'll never forget it, man. They got up and they're going, "Oh, you're so brave, and I'm sitting here thinking, guys are too smart here. It's like if I come up short, it ain't me. It's going to get hurt.
Right.
It's like, oh, sure, I'm brave. Okay, yeah.
You want to be the one of the first guys next to the ramp. That's
not me. I want to be the one on the bicycle. I didn't want to be any of them.
Crazy. So where did you go from there? Where did you go from jumping your friends on, with a bicycle? My
cousin Steve and I were jumping bicycles, and we jumped out. He got. That guy beat me, actually. I got to tell everybody. He out-jumped me on bicycles. I got to 3 cars on bicycles, and he made it to 4. But
really?
Yeah, he jumped 4 cars on a bicycle, and I took the picture because I was into photography. And I always used to go around saying to everybody, once I was jumping motorcycles, "Do you have any pictures?" They used to say, "You have any pictures of you jumping bicycles?" The only picture I had was of him jumping 4, and so I became the guy that jumped four cars on a bicycle because I had taken the picture. It's a true Evil Knievel story, If you jump 3, you really did 4.
Right. It's like the one-armed fisherman. He got a fish and it was this big. It's bad.
Well, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, so you went from bicycles. Steve beat you jumping bicycles. When did you get into motorcycles?
Well, in '79, I've been riding motorcycles since I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
And in '79, I had my shop class, the carpentry department at Pathfinder, build me a set of wooden ramps, and I went and set them up in my friend Johnny Mullen's field, and I kept jumping farther and farther, and I finally got out where I was pretty close to 10 cars.
Wow.
And I'd done about 8 cars, and I figured, I'm going to call a newspaper. I'm going to see if I can get all my friends to bring their cars up.
Right.
So a bunch of my friends brought their cars up, and I ended up jumping 10 cars. I missed the landing ramp. I hit, got knocked out. My brother rushed me to the hospital. I woke up on the way there doing about 100 miles an hour, and I thought I was going to die in the car.
Wow.
And I had a concussion, and I went back, got home. Later on that week, I got the Palmer Journal, and I was on the front page of the Palmer Journal. One of the editors had done a story about the difference between a guy that rides across the country on a bicycle,
right,
and me going for my quick glory. And there was 3 big pictures. I was a whole big headline story in the newspaper that time. And that was it, man. I was famous. Palmer Journal, man. Everywhere I went, everybody in town was all, "Hey, Doug, we saw your jump. That was great. It's like, hey, man. I thought I was Evil Knievel,
Right.
Nobody anywhere else knew, but Palmer knew me.
Exactly. That's all right, man. That's all right. So where did it go from there? Like, you spent some time, you spent a lot of time working for guys doing thrill shows.
Yeah, in 1980, I went on to jump. I called a few racetracks and started booking some shows. I did like about 7 shows in 1980 at racetracks. And I met up with a friend of mine, the promoter from Hudson Speedway. His name was Russ Conway. And he says, "You really need to go with a very professional stunt show that's got all the class and the polish, and learn showmanship from these guys, and spend a summer on the road with the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show, and then we can book you into some real big events." So I spent a year on the road with the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show. We had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends. Traveled the whole eastern side of the United States. Cool. Did 117 shows in 1 year.
Wow.
We did 40 of them at the Big E.
Wow.
And later on in my career, I gotten back together with the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show, and I was doing shows at the Big E for about 5 years. I was just a headliner that they brought in as a special attraction at the Big E. And boy, I loved doing the Big E.
Yeah.
That place was a lot of fun. We had chicken wing night. We had everything every night. Every night there was a different kind of food party, you know.
That's cool. Now the Big E's in what? It's in Springfield, Massachusetts, in Western Mass?
West Springfield.
West Springfield. Gotcha, cool.
It's the third largest fair in the United States.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when we were doing shows there, they were drawing 1.3 million people.
Holy crap.
And
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, they took out the racetrack to put in a stage for the bands, and they draw some good people now, but I think up until last year, we were done doing thrill shows around 2004, I think it was.
Wow.
And they had never had the crowds. The overall attendance of the fair was never as high as when we were there.
Oh, sure.
Until just recently, they had a couple of really big bands come in, and they got the attendance back. I think they set a record last year. They had great weather too.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. You did something pretty crazy before you left high school, didn't you? I got that in my notes.
You know, I went to Palmer High School and did a safety show, and that seemed to have gotten brought up too.
I was
a
safety show.
Well, it was like an economy day. Or what do they call it? About work, different types of work to do.
Okay, right.
So they brought me in to encourage people that never dream too small, because you never know how far you can make it. I'm Guinness Book of World's Record holder. I went to school right there, and my family wasn't rich, and it was a strong desire and a will to give everything I had to be the best at what I was doing. And
that's cool.
Career day, that's what they call it.
Career day, there we go.
But anyways, last day of high school.
That's down the road.
Yeah. Last day of school back in my sophomore year.
Sophomore year?
Yeah, it was my sophomore year. A couple guys dared me to ride through high school on my motorcycle. And I was like, I'll do that. I'm not afraid, And then I started thinking about it. I said, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if I do this. I don't think I'm going to do it. So there was these two big twins that they were pretty tough kids.
Yeah.
They played on the football team. And they came over and he says, "What time are you going through? We're going to get some people here." And I'm like, I changed my mind. I said, "I don't think I can go through. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble." He says,
I still have to come back to the school.
Yeah. Well, they says, "We bet $50 that you were going through. You're going through." And I was like, I'm not going to fight these guys. I'm like, okay, right. I guess so. I guess I'll go right now.
Oh my gosh.
And one of my friends, David, came along. And he says, "I'll go with you." I'm like, all right. So we were circling around, and there was teachers standing in the hallway, and I waiting for the teachers to get out of the hallway. I didn't know why the heck they were standing in the hallway.
Right.
And if I'd been smart, I would have remembered that the teachers come out and start talking in the hallway when the bell's going to ring. So I just figured I'd come down the hallway, I'd pull it up in a wheelie, and they would just jump out of the way. So I got it up in a wheelie, and I'm riding, and one of the teachers dove on top of the other teacher to get her out of the way.
Oh my gosh.
And just as they slammed to the floor, the bell rang, and all the kids come piling out in the hallway. Man, there was books flying everywhere. Kids were screaming. I didn't hit anybody, though. I ended up going down the stairs in the back.
Oh my God.
I looked back at my friend David, and he's shaking his head going, are we going to get in trouble for this one?
Oh my
I got home and the
goodness.
phone was already ringing.
Oh man.
My principal.
Suspended?
They asked me not to ever come back to that school again.
So that's when you started going to private school?
No, I went over to Pathfinder Regional Vocational Technical High School, which was a great move.
Yeah.
I met some great teachers, and everybody over there has a direction in life. They're already focusing on a direction, being a plumber or an electrician, a welder, or whatever. And the teachers there were so easy to get along with and so cool. Palmer was great too. I didn't have any trouble with anybody there.
Yeah.
But Pathfinder, I really saw the difference where a lot of times kids are lost. They have no direction in life.
Right.
And when you go to Pathfinder, you kind of choose a course that's going to get you in a field that's going to make you decent money.
I got to tell you, I had a friend of mine when my kids were super young. I had one of our neighbors actually told me, she's like, what do you want your son to be? And I told her something, ridiculous or outrageous. I don't know. I think I told her I wanted him to be the president or something, right?
Why is that ridiculous?
I don't know. We
could have used one a few years ago.
We could have. But she's like, you know
Just
what?
lost half your crowd.
Oh, that's all right. But they'll then one of our friends is like, you know what? You know, it's not a bad job as being a plumber. I'm like, that's a crappy job. And she's like, we're always going to need plumbers. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Wise man always
That's
said,
a good point.
always dealing something that everybody needs every day.
I know.
So that's why I became a motorcycle driver.
Right, because everyone needs one of those every day.
You gotta have that.
Totally. All right, so you did Joey Chitwood for a while.
Yeah.
You did the thrill show up and down the East Coast, and you did it at the Big E. What happened after that? When did you finally get connected with Evil Knievil?
Well, I had met Evil Knievil when I was about, back, I think I was 19. You know what? I was 19, 20 years old. I had moved to Florida, and I was working down in Dade City at this guy's garage. And I can tell you, it gets cold down there sometimes. When it gets cold in Florida, it's cold.
It's yeah.
I was working on cars, and they had a day when it was 19 degrees, and I'm out there trying to work on cars, and that was tough. But anyways, I was working with him, and my promoter had said, well, I got just set up with an interview with Joey Chitwood. I want you to go over to Tampa, and he wants to see you do some wheelies. So I went over, I did some wheelies, and I looked up, and on the sign it says Evil Knievel and Evil Knievel 2 show, and it had the dates. It was the next weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is that? I says to Joey Chitwood, I says, what's this all about? He goes, yeah, Evil's going to be here next week. He says, that's his rig over there, that bus. I'm like, really? Do you think I could go meet him? He says, I don't know if he's over there. Take a walk over there. So I walked over. Robbie Knievel was just sitting there in the camper. And I just knocked on the door, and I says, hi. I says, oh my God, you're Robbie Knievel. And he's like, yeah. Been there for a while. And he started laughing, and I brought my photo albums because I had them there to show Joey Chitwood.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Robbie had been watching me do wheelies.
Oh, wow.
I set the book down, and he comes out and he starts talking to me about how do you do those wheelies so cool. I said, oh, you use the rear brake. I said, just keep bringing it right up to the balance point. Hit the brake and slam it down a few times with the brake and gain the confidence in it. And we went out, and he was playing around with it, and he got it down pretty quick. He always tells that story, too. I love that. He always tells a story every time he sees me. This guy taught me how to wheelie and using the rear brake. He always remembers it,
Oh, that's cool.
And it's cool. You think somebody, a celebrity that big, that,
right.
He's had so many people do things with you that you forget it,
Totally.
But, anyways, we were sitting there afterwards in Evil Knievel's camper. It's a big bus. It was beautiful. And this Cadillac pulls in. And Evil Knievel walked in.
Wow.
Robbie goes, hey, my dad's here. And I went, and he comes walking in, and Robbie goes, Dad, this is my friend Doug. He jumps too. He's got a photo album here if you want to see it. And Evil comes over and goes, hi, my name's Evil Knievel. And I'm like,
I know.
I already know that. I know everything about you. I got so many newspaper articles on you. I was just done. And he looked through my photo album, and he goes, man, you're pretty good at this. He says, what are you doing next week? I says, well, I just found out about your show. I was going to come over and sit in the grandstands and watch it.
Right.
He says, you want to work? I'm like, yeah. He goes, come on by on Friday. He says, be here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He says, and I'll pay you to, put you on the payroll here.
Wow.
I'm like, wow. I got to walk Evil Knievel's bike out to him at the show.
That's awesome.
And it was...
That is way cool.
I'll tell you, from there on, I went with Joey Chitwood that year, and I was living a dream. My life's been a dream the whole time. Some's been some great dreams, and I've had some real nightmares. But, when you're a daredevil, you're going to have good days and you have bad days. It's like everybody else in work, you have good days and bad days.
Sure.
But as a daredevil, your bad days are
really bad.
They're really bad.
Yeah, no kidding. So, people want to hear about that too. Some of your bad days,
That's all they ever want to hear about. If you haven't had a couple good crashes, you're not famous.
Right.
No, he says if you ain't got scars, you're not a biker, right?
There you go.
But no, I had a couple of I had 1 year where I had a lot of crashes.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go for the world record. I wanted to beat everybody, and I jumped at Hudson New Hampshire International Speedway. I jumped out to 251 feet. I set the world record, but they had marked the spot in the wrong place the week before. We thought we had the record, and they had marked the wrong spot. So I did 251, and I wanted to make sure I had the record because the record before that was 246.
Gotcha.
So that was too close. I just says, look, in case he marked the wrong spot, I want to go one more time.
Right.
I want to go a hair faster. I went faster. I landed way down the bottom of the ramp. I went 265, and when I landed, my wrist snapped.
Oh.
And I went into a wobble and went down at over 100 miles an hour.
Holy crap.
That was my first pretty bad crash.
Wow.
And so they wanted me to come back in October at one of the big races.
Yeah.
To do the record in front of a crowd. It was going to be the New England 300 or something like that at New Hampshire International Speedway. So I went back up there, and I was practicing for the record again. I had already got accepted for that 251 that I did from Guiness.
Yeah.
And no, actually I hadn't. I'm sorry. I was going back, and I knew that I'd already done it. We had already put in to Guinness to get it approved.
Yeah.
And then they wanted me to come back, and they were paying me the same amount to come back and do the record again in front of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned one thing: don't jump far in October in New England.
Oof.
It's always windy.
Right.
I did a practice jump, and I went exactly the right speed, and I was in about a 20-mile-an-hour headwind, and I came up 12 feet short.
Holy crap.
Over handlebars. I broke both of my legs, both of my ankles, all my feet right across. I had pins in all my toes.
Holy moly.
And I was in the hospital for a little while, riding around in a wheelchair for 6 weeks. I learned how to wheelie that wheelchair pretty good, though. I could sit there watching TV in a wheelie.
Well, that's awesome. That's a riot, man.
And then while I was, after I got, well, actually when I got done with that jump there, the next year, I did a jump off against Dar Davies from Australia, and I was still waiting to hear back from Guinness Book of World Records. And I ended up beating Dar Davies from Australia. I jumped 25 cars, and I put my back tire right in a bullseye that was a foot around.
Wow.
Went 100, I think it was 150 feet in between the ramps, another 10 feet down the ramp.
That's amazing.
And I dropped the tire right in the bullseye and won it. And
That's awesome. Was that in Australia?
no, it was up at New Hampshire International Speedway.
Gotcha.
He came over from Australia, and the following week we went down to Statue of Liberty. Wanted to get some pictures. Came back up. I told him I had to go do a show at Hudson Speedway. It was only 11 cars, not a big deal. And
11 cars, not a big deal.
Well, I just jumped 25. You know,
right.
so
Yeah, just a day at the office.
I jumped 42 the year before, so 11 to me was pretty minor.
Right.
And I learned one thing: when you become an expert at the long range jumping, you become an amateur at the short stuff.
Oh,
You
man.
forget how much stopping room you need. You forget how much room you need to get going to level off your speed. And I ended up missing that jump and hitting that cement wall at 55 miles an hour head first.
Wow.
And I was in a coma for a month, and when I came to, my memory was completely erased. I had to learn everything. I had to meet my wife and my mother and everybody all over again.
Yikes.
I had to learn how to walk and talk.
That's pretty crazy. We've talked about this before, and you said you were working at a motorcycle shop, and the guys didn't want to. They didn't accept you for who you were because you had to start all over with everything.
I think, like, I used to have a lot of customers come to me because they wanted to buy a bike from me because I was Doug Danger.
Sure, yeah.
And they didn't like that. And when I was in the hospital, another guy became the sales manager and started, they talk about bullying. As an adult, I can tell you what it's like to be bullied because I had the mentality of a 9-year-old. And I had these adults that were making fun of me, stealing my deals, telling me things that wouldn't make sense to a 9-year-old, but obviously wasn't true.
Right.
Then, Honda had just come out with a bike. Their V-twins had 2 spark plugs on them. And normally there's only 1 spark plug per cylinder.
Right.
And I said, somebody asked me how many cylinders on a V-twin, and I didn't know that twin meant 2. So I went over and asked this guy, and he says, well, he just count the spark plugs. So I went over and counted them. There was 4, and I told him it was a 4-cylinder. And all the guys started laughing at me and making fun of me and stuff, and then they went over and told the customer, just ignore him. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
He doesn't know what
So
That's
it was
crazy.
It was really tough. You know, you wouldn't think somebody. I've never been mean to anybody, and you wouldn't think anybody. You don't understand why people bully like that. You know, I guess it makes them feel better, but I ended up leaving that bike shop, went to work for another one, and they put me in charge, and I didn't know how to do anything, and they said, well, you're going to learn. It's sink or swim, you know, and so
Yikes.
I really thank them a lot. This guy was Mike Wade. He really helped me out a lot. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's a lot of, having to go back and relearn how to do everything and then deal with people giving you a hard time and bullying you about it. That's
well, the thing is, when you tell somebody that you got to relearn everything, it's like they think that in a month, you know, you're back and now, oh, that's right, I remember all this. I never felt back in love with my wife again. We ended up getting divorced.
Wow.
And, I'm still remembering things, and it's been 20, 25 years. You know, things that I'd forgotten all about, and somebody says, I remember when you did this, remember when this? It's like, oh yeah, I completely, I remember that. You know, and I had never thought of it again. But
right.
It was over a 10-year period, most of it came back.
Wow.
So I had to learn how to ride motorcycles all over again. And I had to go get my driver's license again. They took my driver's license with a head injury. Driving a car was one of the scariest things, man. I'm driving down the road and there's somebody coming right at me the other way. I'm like, whoa, and I'm pulling over to the side, you know, and they go by that way. It's like, that was too close.
No
it's
kidding.
Like, they're on the other side of the line, Doug. It's okay.
It's okay. Holy moly, man. It's hard to think about that. I had a back surgery recently and some problems with one of my legs, and it's not even near what you had, but I had to whatever. Like my leg was, I called myself a monoplegic because I had one leg that worked and one that didn't. And I had to relearn how to walk and do all that kind of stuff, but it's not even close to everything else that you had to do. That's pretty wild.
It was a rough time. But my feeling in life has always been, you can't hold me down very long. I'm coming back. And
right. What was it the doctor told you? You have 6% chance or something?
What was that, with the cancer?
Yeah, with the that's another. We'll have to save the cancer for another time.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months again. But no, with the doctors, when I went back up there, and I remember when I wanted to go thank them. I went up to, I set it all up, and I had a time to be there to meet the doctors because I knew they were very busy, you know.
Yeah.
And I went up there and I said, "This is the doctor here," and I don't remember his name now. He's since passed on, but he said he's going to be tied up all day. Is there anything I can help you with? And I says, "Oh, gee," I says, "I came all the way from Massachusetts to see him. This is up in New Hampshire." I says, he said he was putting the time aside to see me. She goes, "What's your name?" I says, "Well, it's Doug Danger. You might know me as Doug Senecal on the charge, you know." Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Oh, that's what today's all about. Come on in." I go in, there's a big press conference going on. I walk into a whole room full of reporters.
Holy moly, man.
Doctor grabs my hand, shakes my hand, and he's looking at me real weird. He keeps looking at me. I'm like, "What are you looking at?" He says, "I did a good job on your nose." He says, "Your nose was way over here."
Oh my God, you look like a Picasso.
I used to have a big, huge bump in it, and I got rid of that, so that was cool.
Wow.
I can think of easier ways of getting that done, though.
Right, yeah. Right, they have surgeries for that. Totally. Cool, man. Cool. We're going to talk about the cancer stuff another time we get together. We've only got a few minutes left, and then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
All right.
So what do you want to tell people? Next time we get together, we can talk about how you became a motivational speaker and how that's worked out for you, and the things that you like to talk about and the people that you've talked with. But what can people take away from today?
I want to teach people you can't ever give up. I don't care what your situation is. I was given 3 to 6 months on that cancer deal, and I just says, I'm not dying, I'm not ready to. My son needs me around a little longer. You know, he was dealing with some anxiety and having some issues, mm-hmm. and I knew I had to be here for him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know there's a big thing going on about never say, you know, God or anything like that anymore. It's like, I'm going to tell you what, never be afraid to say a prayer. Never be afraid to ask people for help. And never, ever give up. Because I should have been dead more than once. And I've come back since cancer. I've come back since this horrible crash I had. I learned to ride motorcycle again, and right now I just jumped Evil Knievil's motorcycle over a pit of rattlesnakes. It was over 100 feet long out in Sturgis at the Buffalo Chip, and 2 years ago I jumped his bike farther than Evil Knievel actually jumped the bike.
That is absolutely incredible.
Finished a jump for him. We set the world record together.
That's cool, man. We are going to have to talk about that the next time we get together.
Sounds good.
Cool, man. All right. Well, we're almost where we need to be. We got to find somewhere to we got to find somewhere to go, and that's where we're at. All right. Oh, great. No U-turn. That's all right. All right. Well, we are where we need to be here, and we are gonna drop Doug off. This is Doug Danger. How do people find your stuff, Doug?
Just look up Doug Danger. It's the website's dougdanger.1 at AOL.com.
That's your email?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is that the?
Is it,
No, my website. What's my? That's my website.
That sounds like an email.
I'm terrible with stuff. My wife.
You know what?
If you just
if you just look for Doug Danger.
No, I'm sorry. The website is doug-danger.com.
There we go. Doug-danger.com. If not, just Google Doug Danger. You will definitely find his stuff. If you look on YouTube, you'll find some of his greatest hits, like The Wall. Anyway, so that is that. Doug, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure seeing with you. It's great to have you, Scott. Thanks for being a great passenger back there. You got to keep yourself quiet once in a while, all right? All right, very cool. And we will do this again, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie.